Greeting, folks. I had just finished building this toilet paper stand. This is my second toilet paper stand, where this first one was kind of simpler, out of pine, with no details and profiles to it. This, however, I tried to add a little bit of sweet details to it, like adding walnuts and walnut splines to it, and also making it the corner also a profile of walnut. So I would like you to join me and watch how I built this. So follow along, please. All right, so after having my pieces all made up and ready, planed, I decided to just cut them in length, going through the spline where I decided to have small details for the front and the back of the piece to have the walnut spline inserted. Inserting the spline was rather difficult because making it to the right width and height on such a small piece turned out to be rather tedious. So I went ahead and said, you know what, I'm going to have it a little bit proud if it is so, and cut it later on after it dried up. So that's what I did. I glued it up and waited for it to dry up, and ran it through the table saw to make it to the right width. I don't know if there's any other way to cut the spline into width, but that's how I used it, like table saw and the planer which I had in my shop. And having the dado cut again was on this table saw was challenging. DeWalt does not, to my opinion, does not make a precise table saw. So you see me that I'm trying to make the table saw sled, but the runners and making it quite 90-degree angle, it just did not work for me. So I did my best to make it as accurate as I could. And after cutting the slot for the dado, I ended up lots of chiseling and cleaning to make it fit. And even after, getting it to the right width, I still had some gaps in between my shelves and the actual body of this toilet paper stand. Here, it seems that I am going to cut through dowels, but actually I decided not to, because already the joint was very strong for toilet paper. Nobody's going to just use it as a lot of weight into it. So I ended up having that plug for simply decorative reasons. To me, it just was small details of those beautiful chocolatey plugs to shine, or just to stand in the background of a pine. I did not. My first cutting the head of that plug, I used saw, but I do not recommend it. It's just damages your piece. So I thought, you know what? It's not that. It doesn't have a height, so I could not sand it. So sanding worked for me. And I do recommend sanding the plug-in to the correct height. The actual paper holder also was a small piece going through my bandsaw. It took a lot of sanding to make it quite right. I sped up this part because it took a while for me to center it on the carcass and such a small piece like that paper holder. So you would not be watching me through this torture of centering it. Anyhow, after making it to the position that I wanted, I decided to use dowel and not use screw. It worked pretty well, really. The glue is really strong, and the dowel plus the dowel makes it doubly strong. To take the top shelf, since it was cut in a miter 45-degree angle, using dowel, I do not recommend it. It took me a lot of time to really make it work with no gaps in that 45-degree angle. So yeah, it's just I probably I'm not going to use it again on a 45-degree angle. It should be something else. I don't know what for now, but I definitely use something else to make the miter cut, the 45-degree angle cut, a little bit more stronger. So after all is done, it's dried up. These are the final touches of me giving it this round bit of a router to eliminate those sharp edges. I found that to be more visually also appealing. And finally, my favorite wax as a beeswax, which I'm applying. It's an amazing smell of that beeswax and the simplicity of applying it. I apply a couple of coats to it to give it shine and protection, and voila. There you have it, folks. So this is the final result of the project. I am going to just go around it to give you a little bit more tours around that piece, and I think we'll be done.
Okay, so thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. And I'm going to be seeing you in the next project. Signing out for now.